Welcome to Spotlight on Schools. I'm Jennifer Edens. In this episode, we will learn how Clayton Middle School depends on community mentors to enhance the educational experiences of its students. Clayton Middle School administrators have used Robert Marzano's book, What Works in Schools? Translating Research into Action, to focus on factors that influence student success. They have learned that many obstacles to student learning may be overcome through one-to-one relationships between a student and a caring adult. As a result of Marzano's data, Clayton Middle School has developed a mentoring program that supports students who face specific challenges.
This program actually started with an impromptu conversation in the hallway with Mr. Presti, one of our assistant principals, mentioning an idea for a mentor program. Knowing that our school focuses on relationships, purposeful and meaningful, I knew that this was something we had to jump on and get started on.
In his book, Robert Marzano identifies 3 factors that may be roadblocks in education. These are home environment, learned intelligence and background knowledge, and motivation. However, these obstacles may be overcome through the establishment of a trusting relationship.
You know, we really spoke with our mentors to dig in and be ready to let it be a one-sided relationship at first. Because what we're trying to do is we need to kind of rope them in and be patient for our results.
So, Mr. Parkus, why did you get involved in the mentoring program here at Clayton Middle School?
Well, Jennifer, quite a few years ago, I had a individual that was very instrumental in my life in helping me to navigate my future and to be able to see the opportunities that lie ahead of me that I may have not been aware of at the time. And through his relationship mentoring me, looking back on it, was probably one of the best experiences that I had at the time, especially during those middle school years and even those high school years. It really meant a lot to me, and it really meant a lot that somebody would take the time, who I really didn't know that well, to take an interest in me. It made me want to work harder and make that individual proud. So I felt that as long as there's other individuals out there who needed somebody to maybe navigate their way, that they can bounce ideas off of and maybe hear an outside perspective, that I'd love to be able to give back in the same way that someone gave to me earlier in life.
The overall goal of the program is not only to provide a positive role model that a young person can look up to, but to use a direct approach to enhancing crystallized intelligence, which ultimately should result in increasing the variety and depth of out-of-class experiences, such as field trips to museums and art galleries.
Crystallized intelligence is that learned background, and it has such a huge impact on their academic success, but you need to broaden their horizons. We need to increase their vocabulary, take them to museums, help them go to soup kitchens, help them understand that there's a broader world than maybe what they're used to or accustomed to. And when you start impacting in those areas, that has that large impact on their crystallized intelligence.
According to Marzano's book, effective mentors engage in the following practices. They maintain a steady and consistent presence in the student's life, take responsibility for keeping the relationship alive and realize that it may be one-sided, involve the student in decisions about how time will be spent and respect his viewpoint, recognize the student's need for fun, and become acquainted with his family.
It's very rewarding in a couple different ways. One, being able to see the path that they've chosen previously in maybe a more positive path going into the future, and having the insight that you have at a different stage in life, being able to see the difference that can make over a long period of time for that certain kid or that certain person. Very rewarding though, very rewarding. We've only been doing about 3 months now, and I could tell you some of the responses and result from his peers and his teachers that I'm mentoring has been very positive, even this early on. So very excited about the next few years or so.
The likely benefits of the mentor-student relationship may be a higher GPA, increased self-esteem, feelings of accomplishment, increased patience, a sense of effectiveness, acquiring new skills or knowledge, and an increased likelihood to enroll in and persist in college. This is truly a group effort between teachers, guardians or parents, community, mentors. Everyone comes together and really searches for ways to help the student, and that's reflected in the classroom.
Oh yes, I mean our goal as teachers is to make them successful in their life, but it's, you know, it doesn't, we get them for 8 hours a day and then they go home into a totally different environment that we don't have control over. So when we can have that connection with the people they go home to, and then we can have a connection with somebody outside of those two relationships, and then the child feels like no matter who I talk to, they all have my best interest at heart, they respond better and they take ownership in that.
And when the student sees how much you and others care about him or her, how is that reflected in your relationship with that student?
I have Seth fourth block, so that's right there at the end of the day, and I've started noticing him, like, you know, picking up his stuff and, bye, Miss Turner, see you tomorrow, which it was just, you know, before it was quiet, move, get out. You know, nothing, but he's starting to connect with us. He's starting to want to talk to us. We're studying World War II right now, and he is all into it. You know, asking questions. Well, hey, I read this, and adding to it. And then even if I'm in the hallway, want to say something that he saw in a movie or heard. So he's feeling more like he's got a voice. He's more powerful in that voice, which we love to see.
And he can trust you. He
Yes.
trusts in the fact that
Yes.
you and these other adults care about him
Right.
and his future.
Right. He can see it because he knows that we meet, and that he knows that we talk to Mr. Tony and all those things. So he understands why we are constantly, you know, boosting him and asking him, are you okay? How you feeling? Things like that. He knows why.
Right. And does this change in attitude, this positive reflection from the mentoring program, also lead to a change in his grades?
Yes. Before, and he'll tell you himself, before he was not doing very well at all. And that is why we had the meeting. Sure. You know, we got to get him where he needs to be, because we could all see his potential, and I don't think that he realized his potential. And again, that baggage sometimes clouds their judgment. And so when we were promoting, you know, building him up, and he was like, well, maybe I can do this. And so, you know, he's being more active in education. Anytime you start asking questions more in classroom, you're going to start learning more. When you're active in your education, it's
you're
always more
engaged.
beneficial.
Right.
So he's being more active, being strong in his voice, and so we've seen a total change in his grades in all 4 classes. That's what we talked about in the meeting, that we see him slowly starting to build, and if he misses an assignment, he's going to come to me and say, hey, when can I come in? I was absent that day, when can I take my quiz? Or I saw in my progress report that I missed that homework assignment, can I still turn that in? Whereas before, it was a non-issue for him.
So, Seth, tell us about your experience in the mentoring program. Are you enjoying it?
Yes.
What do you like about it?
Just having somebody to talk to.
Okay. Do you get to meet with that person during your lunch, or how often do you get to meet with your mentor?
Every Thursday at lunch.
Every Thursday at lunch. That's great. And what kind of things do you guys talk about?
Well, sometimes we talk about how my grades are, and sometimes we talk about like video games, stuff like that.
Ooh, do you like video games? Is it nice to have somebody to talk to who's already an adult and who can give you some advice maybe on some difficulties you're facing?
Yes.
Yes. What kind of advice does your mentor give you?
Like, he tells me that I should probably like keep up the good work and stuff like that.
Okay. Does it feel good to have that positive encouragement? How does it feel to know that you have so many people hoping for you to succeed? Does that feel good? Yeah. What kind of interests do you have? What do you hope for in your future?
To have good grades,
Okay. What do you think those good grades will lead to?
a better life.
My mentor, he's pretty cool. He helps me out. Like if I have trouble over the week or anything, I'll talk to him about it, and he helps me like to see what I can do better and how I can do better, and stuff like that.
Right. So he offers you good advice. And have you taken some of his advice that he's given you
Oh, yes,
and
ma'am.
applied it?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you noticed a difference in your grades? How are you doing in school?
Well, I have room for improvement in my grades.
Right. We all do, right?
Yeah. But like, I'm trying to do better, and with my grades and with like my attitude and with getting in trouble and all that. And I have been doing better. Like in math class, I'm not bad talking to teachers. I'm not not getting in trouble, and I'm not like doing anything except for like doing good and trying to make better grades.
Clayton Middle School has worked closely with the Clayton Chamber of Commerce to procure mentors for their program.
Often schools struggle with getting involvement in the community in your school beyond, can you proctor for the EOG, or can you come proctor, or not proctor, but chaperone a dance, and we wanted to get beyond that and bring the community and their experiences into our school, and the Chamber of Commerce was the way that we went about trying to get people that may be interested in sharing their skills. And we've had a very positive response. For a couple of years now, the Chamber has partnered with us in doing several different things. And they were very excited when Ms. Mason, who really kind of put this program on its wheels and got it moving, they were a very positive response to her, and our mentors have been very excited about giving back and helping these youngsters.
Our mentors have been all, so far, come through the Chamber of Commerce here in Clayton, but we are seeking volunteers and mentors to build this program. So if someone were to be interested, they do need to be approved by the county to be a volunteer to work with students, but there also is a training they would have to go through. We have a gentleman at the Chamber of Commerce that has done the trainings and provided support throughout the program as we're building it. So it's very important that there's someone who's dedicated and can make that commitment, as well as get the training and get the approval by the county.
Clayton Middle School and the Clayton community have gone above and beyond in their efforts to support students and assure their future success. We thank them so much for sharing their effective program with us today. If you know a school we should spotlight, email me at jennifer.edens@ewtv.org. Thank you for watching this episode of Spotlight on Schools.